A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave it too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the movement going on. Right here where we stand, man. We bucking and stumping, fist pumping. Even though they tried to set us up for failure and kill us, we keep on coming. That's why somebody gotta step up and say something about the bullshit. Because if not, the blind gon' keep leaving.
What's going on, y'all? I want to get on here and make a video about Thanksgiving and what Thanksgiving represents. I know for most of us, we consider time to spend time with our families and, things of that nature. Even me, matter of fact, I just spent some time with my family, but I'm torn. I can't truly say because just knowing on this day, there were like pretty much like our native people, our native ancestors were slaughtered in several instances. And it's just like, we don't think about it because we're living this current system of life here. But, I did some honestly, this today popped up on my feed, a brother named Yellow Pain, man, a rapper named Yellow Pain. He actually did a reel about him, rapping about, how it was like basically a slaughter, and we're celebrating it and not thinking about, what truly occurred, like I said, our native ancestors were just simply plain slaughtered. And they even gave, they gave it the name Thanksgiving because what it was, they were thankful that millions, or just so many of our, ancestors were dropping dead, were dying from like blankets filled with smallpox, the massacre of the Pequot Indians, when they actually did burn a village, they wouldn't let anybody escape. Anybody did escape, they shot them, stabbed them, whatever, killed them. And then the ones that did survive, they actually put them on trial, sold them into slavery. Said, they could not call themselves Pequot Indians anymore. So, things of that nature, occurred. And that's what they were giving Thanksgiving for, that they slaughtered, our native ancestors, So, like I said, I'm torn, because I'm the type of person that like, man, I know that when there's a wrong done, I'm not with it. I'm just not with it. When you have done something it's a genocide. It's a genocidal act, and then you have people celebrating it like, oh, it's all about, celebrating being with family and friends and stuff like that. But the original thought or the original celebration was the slaughter and the massacre of native people here in America. And then to come find out, just studying, they had civilization. I knew it. They had civilization, Our Native American, they had civilization. They had governments. They had, a nation, a civilized nation, had trade. They had means of building, developing, technology, stuff like this. So it's like they would lead us to think we were just only primitive. But no, they had government. They had system of laws. They had things like that. You know what I mean? They had their own way of living, and then, like I said, the society or the current system, the way it's set up, it makes us think that, oh, we're living better. They didn't have an idea of what to do, so that's why, it was justified, or that's why, it was, it was better for another government to be established. But the government they massacred people to set this government up, and then like I said, that's why I'm torn, because I'm like, man, I'm not with, the destruction of a people, and then you disguise it as a day for celebration, and make everybody think, oh, it's all about being with your family and your friends and celebrating togetherness. No, it was a slaughter, and then like I said, the brother, man, Yellow Pain, like I just seen that reel, and it kind of just woke me up, and like, it made me sad. I ain't gonna lie, it made me sad. And I'm over here cooking cornbread dressing to go celebrate with my family, and it's just like, man, it's disheartening, man, just to see that, like, bro. And then all I said, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna do some research behind it. I went down, like I said, I went down through there. I'm researching, find out about the Pequot Indians, you know what I'm saying? That massacre happened in 1637. Philip Sheridan, you know what I'm saying? I guess he was a government official, military official, Philip Sheridan. He, they pretty much, he was one of the main ones that organized that particular massacre of the Pequot, our Pequot ancestors, that occurred in Connecticut, from what I understand, present day Connecticut. So, they put all the people that did survive, the ones that didn't end up perishing, put them on trial, then sold them into slavery. Like, it's like, that happened in 1637. Then a movie called The Revenant. People don't know this history. People, around the 1800s, 1823, they were killing buffalo by the masses. They said it was about 16 million buffalo, and only about 1,000 were left, in around about 1823, because they came up with a strategy to force the Native Americans into submission and on the reservations by killing their source of survival, which was the buffalo, for food, fur, for clothing, I believe for oils or what other things, that's what they use to survive. So, by doing that, by mass slaughtering these buffalo, they were able to cripple our native people, the Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, man, like, bro, like, come on, man. They they slaughtered, man. They slaughtered our people, man. It's like, then we think that we are not the native people. But like I said, my father's mother, was a black Indian. Her skin red. We got that red undertone. We got that red tone. We get that from her. You know what I mean? She got it from her, people. You know what I'm saying? So, all of us, we got that red undertone. You know what I'm saying? So, we the native people. We don't realize it. We think it's a fair skinned, light skinned person. Nah, man, it was us over here on this land. We were already here anyway. We had our civilization going anyway, already over here. And some of our people, came from Africa before, like I said, before Columbus was already over here. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I'm just like, bro, I'm not lying. I feel some type of way. I truly do. I feel some type of way. And in remembrance of our native people, it's like, man, this got to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? And I even have to say, like, with us, like moving forward, I would say, this is the way society is. We getting with our families and stuff like that, but man, we need to talk about it. We with our family, we need to talk about it. And it may need to be something like the brother Yellow Pain said. It may need to be something just we can't probably even continue going on with the practice of Thanksgiving, knowing this, man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, I think God just put that spirit in me, like, man, like, I'm not with no wrongdoing, man. Y'all trying not to cuss, but people got messed over, like, really bad. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people don't think like me or whatever, but we're living comfortable lives, and you know, a lot of us, you know, I know a lot of people don't think like me. A lot of people just not, they just like, hey, I'm living a comfortable life, man. I'm cool. Yeah, what happened, that's the past or whatever. But, you know, and that happened, you know what I mean? You can't change it. But what I would say moving forward, though, like I said, I think it needs to be talked about. And we need to understand that and understand that it could never happen again. And we have to put ourselves in a position where it would never happen again, you know. And if a celebration like this needs to change, not be celebrated no more, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be like, no, man, they give us off days. You know, we eating good food. We with our family. We with our friends. But generations ago, family and friends were slaughtered. You know. And people were burned, you know, in villages. People put on trial and sold as slaves. You know what I'm saying? So what about that? You know, that could have been our great grandfather, grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And then that history was robbed of us. We don't even know our true native history to this land. You know what I'm saying? And I would even go on to say this is a legally established government. We already had our government here. We was already doing okay before people came and colonized the land. We didn't need y'all to even come here. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so crazy about it. We were already doing okay before people came and destroyed our people. You know what I'm saying? But okay, people want to say, man, you tripping. There you go with that, you know, there you go with that revolutionary talk. You know what I'm saying? But I know if it was done to somebody else, you would be upset as well. If it was done to European people, you had our native ancestors to go to Europe and slaughter them and take their land, they'll be messed up about it as well and ready to fight about it and go to war about it. And probably would have already went to war about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's my problem. People would say, yeah, you keep talking about this revolutionary stuff. If it was up to me, we'd be at war right now. You know what I'm saying? But I know nobody don't think like that. Nobody don't want to die. Nobody, yeah, we don't want to leave our family, nothing like that. But we have to understand, man, sometimes you just got to go ahead and go on out. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to let somebody take your family and do whatever they will with them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I know, man, like I said, people out there, they may feel, hey, man, I'm not with it. I don't, but some of us, yes, we do feel like that because of the crime that was done. You know what I'm saying? That was a crime of human genocide. That was a crime, truly a crime committed, you know what I mean, against our people. And not only that, you might well say the whole world order was changed based on greed and racism. Because everybody over here was okay. But like I said, the history, the way they wrote the history book, it made it seem like, oh, it was primitive over here. Nobody wasn't doing this. Nobody wasn't doing that. People were just living in huts. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it was a civilized land. They were actually building pyramids, you know, building structures over here before people came and colonized. Europeans came and colonized. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that, you know, it was already civilized over here, you know, but they did not only genocide our native people, they brought our ancestors over here in chains, some of our ancestors from Africa over here in chains, pushed the Mexicans down, you know what I'm saying, our Latino brothers and sisters, or our, you know, native Mexican people, pushed them down further into Mexico, Jack, California, you know what I'm saying, Texas from them, pushed them further down into Mexico. And so you had three humans, like, if you want to say like genocides or pretty much crimes against humanity going on at the same time, you know, or in sync with each other. You know what I'm saying? So by right, really, to tell the truth, not only African people should be going to war, our native ancestors be going to war, and Mexican people supposed to be going to war with this government. But everybody gonna say me saying that I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm with it, however it go. You know what I'm saying? My friends, my family, they may not understand that. But like I said, God put that spirit in me. It's like, hey, man, to suffer them blows like that, man, us as nations should be going to war. This is a legally established government. And I'm going to say it again. If you come over here, or I'll just put it like this. If it's somebody and I steal their purse, steal their car, whatever, and I put my contents in that purse, or I put rims on that car, put speakers in that car, and say it's mine, that'll never be mine because I stole that. I will never be the rightful owner to that because I stole that and I put my contents, I put my rims on it, you know, and claimed it was mine, you know, but that belongs to somebody else, you know. I took it because they was weaker or they couldn't fight me back. They couldn't do nothing against me to prevent me from taking it. But it could never belong to me because I wrongfully usurped that. I took that from them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had to get on here and say that. I'm not gonna even be long, but I had to say that because it's like, yeah, we're celebrating. We're doing these things with our families. You know, we're coming together. We're watching these football games, stuff like that. But yeah, it's slaughters, massacres that took place. You know what I'm saying? For this day to be celebrated. You know, history was rewritten for this day to be celebrated. But I would say, what we need to do from now on, let's get with our family on this day, but let's talk about it. And if it need to be changed, let's change it. We don't even got to keep celebrating. Man, we spending money anyway. You know, we spending money just to eat and gain some more pounds. That money could be spent on something else. As a whole nation, that money could be spent on something else. I probably spend about $100. You know what I'm saying? 100 times 30 million black people. What is that? That money could get a war machine going. You know what I'm saying? We can get a military and change some things. Or we don't want to get no military. I know people ain't with that. But anyway, we can get something else going. We can build some institutions with that. Hospitals, banks, schools, whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm going to get up out here. I know, hey, yeah, I'm offended. You know, I'm offended. And I'm not going to even lie, man. I'm really, I'm hot about it, you know. You know, maybe it was meant for me to see because I'm like I said, I'm making cornbread. I'm finna go to my family house and brought a pecan pie and all this old stuff. You know, maybe it's meant for me to see that video. I don't even know, wasn't even looking for nothing. Just seen that and then seen another post, you know, then went down, like I said, go to start studying. It's like I'm finding out too many things. I've already seen the Revenant. I've heard about that. I've seen the pile of buffaloes, you know, like I said, they destroyed them, further research that. You know, find out they was purposely destroying the food source, which was buffalo, bison, you know, for our native ancestors, you know, what they lived on to survive or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Here, they destroyed that so they could basically destroy their survival mechanism, their means of survival, you know. So, anyway, yeah, I had to get on here and say that because I'm, you know, hey man, yeah, that's, yeah, man, it's not cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not cool. You know, our people were genocide. You know, like I said, yeah. Going forward, yeah, it need to be talked about. People need to be aware of it. You know, yeah, we celebrating, we doing we need to be aware of it. You know, we need to be aware of the massacre, the genocide that took place. You know what I'm saying? And 3 forms, you know, I would say, like I said, it's just a crime against humanity. 3 forms of crimes against humanity. Not only that our native ancestors were genocided, our African ancestors brought over here, and they jacked, you know, land from Mexico. You know, so, you know, people can be out there, you know, well, you know, yeah, you know, that don't matter. Hey, that ain't important. No, it's important. You know why? Because they'll do it again. You know, we talk about slavery and all that. You know, we talk about our native ancestors. Yeah, we need to talk and keep talking about it because if they did it before, they'll try to do it again. We always need to be aware of it. People will say, hey, when that happens, now always be aware of it, because if they do it, if they try to do it one time, they may try to do it again. We seeing what's going on with Trump and all the stuff that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Trying to reverse, which they did. And they reversed affirmative action, DEI, these DEI and things of that nature. You know, they're reversing certain laws that have been put in place, civil rights acts and things of that nature that have been put in place to help people that have been already systematically denied things, in this country. Black people, and other, people in this country, especially black people, just systematically denied certain things, So, yeah, I would say that, yeah, we need to talk about it and keep it on our mind. You know what I mean? So, I'm just, that's how I am, love my people, love being with them and being around them and being able to gather with them. But we may need to do something besides just saying it's on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, if just come together on, forget just we just gonna come together on Thanksgiving. It could be other time. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's like we only think about our mothers and our fathers on Father's Day and Mother's Day. Nah, it could be other time. And I know people being more aware of that too, which is good. But yeah, now that could be a resolution, you know what I'm saying, or a solution. If we just stop, yeah, it ain't gotta be, this day ain't set in stone. Like we just gotta continue to do this. If we consider this and say we might want to do something else, we ain't gotta say it's only on this day that we gotta come and be with our family. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm with the solution. I'm with trying to do something different. That's what this platform is for. It's about revolutionary thoughts, revolutionary, thinking and changing certain things. We don't have to continue. We want to say we want to do something else, we can do something else. And that's what I'm with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we ain't got to continue with it. We ain't got to continue with it. You know what I'm saying? If we say as a people we're not doing no more, that's what it is. So that's what I'm with, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, like I said, I'm gonna get up out here. Yeah, I know, people, man, dude, trip me up, man. I'm upset about it. Like I said, I really am, man, because I'm not with it, man. You know what I'm saying? Folk genocided our folk over here, like I said, brought our African ancestors over here, man. Then jacked the Mexican folk out their land. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Crimes against humanity. You know what I'm saying? 3 simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? Or in sequential order. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm upset. I'm upset about it. And yeah, it need to be talked about. But anyway, man, I'm gonna get up out here, man. I had to get on here and say that. I still hope y'all out there. I hope, people out there doing good. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got a chance to see y'all folk, spend time with y'all folk. That's cool. But we may need to come up with another day, to do this here, But anyway, man, I hope everybody out there doing good. Hope y'all out there doing well. Living y'all life, being happy, And I'm gonna get up out here, man. Till the next one, man. I love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change a page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing on some real shit. We ran the world.